So for those that are currently waking up to the fact that this is what they've been going through, for women, and for starseeds that are currently waking up as well, that, I mean, we have a record number of awakenings happening right now as this global shift continues. What would be your greatest advice for anyone that is beginning their journey? You've had a long journey, as you mentioned before, and I've seen in documentaries when you first started out, and you had to go through quite a bit in order for you to put out the messages that you put out, which are absolutely extraordinary. I mean, in eloquence, and just, you have to go through this in order for you to be able to teach and to help others. And that is where my honor towards you comes from, because I could see that, I can feel it as an energy worker, that you've gone through so much and that you could put that out and push forward that message. What would you say to anyone that is currently beginning their journey, and that is also in that process of fear and in that root core of, oh my God, I'm waking up, the world is different, I am not choosing fear anymore, I want to choose love, my world is completely shifting and changing. Where did they go? What is their next step? Like, what would you recommend?
Yes. One thing that helped me, I didn't experience a lot of trauma when I became aware of these things, because I had been working very heavily in deprogramming and understanding my emotions for years before that. So without that foundation, I can say probably it would be very traumatizing. And I work with people that feel traumatized from these experiences every day. What I have learned through that process and by working with so many people is that it comes down to the beginning of the topic of this conversation today, which is unconditional love for the self. And when we have unconditional love for the self, we become compassionate towards ourselves. We need to have the compassion towards the selves in order to be spiritual warriors, or to be in this physical body in this life, because we are interdimensional. That is a fact. Whether you are ready to accept that or not, you will be met with the opportunity to experience or explore that at some point in your life. And in order to deal with things in the unknown, which is the definition of separation, when we don't know something, we fear it. So this is again the idea of coming into unity. We're doing the same even in these topics that you and I are talking about here. We need to see each other as one. And the more and more we're compassionate with ourselves, it is compassionate towards the self to see things as one. Fear begins to dispel. Feelings of helplessness begin to be unnecessary, because you understand that you are not this physical body. This is just a hologram, fractal of infinite consciousness, and there are millions of yous on different dimensional planes that are experiencing countless things that you might not even be aware of. So in order to accept something like this, compassion is incredibly important, right? When you feel that compassion, you also begin to become a little bit more open about what these potential agendas can be. Because in these realms, you're going to be experiencing duality. That's what we're here to experience, the dark and the light. And there is both. And we've participated in both, every single one of us. We either have counter created in times when we have not been very conscious, and then we have also created in times where we have been conscious. So the idea is to try to unite two things, to be compassionate and conscious at the same time. And this is actually my advice for anybody that's in any of these areas, whether it's the hybridization program or just ET contact, my lab, because all of them are exploring the same kind of things, just in different facades, different little, experiences. Another thing I would say is even the hybrids that are being created. And remember that the hybridization program is the children that are being born today, because the children that have been coming in waves of frequency, different waves of higher and higher frequency, is a product of the hybridization program. So these children that are being born today, even more and more awake, pull us, the parents, and the older generations to catch up. And we're catching up spiritually. We need to do the work. We need to deprogram as much as possible and be in that flow. This is the manifestation of the divine feminine, which is being born at this time, in this age of Aquarius. We are learning to master the divine feminine. What is the feminine? Feminine is surrender. Feminine is trust. It's intuition. We have to use all of those tools to navigate the unknowns that we're going into in interdimensional planes. That's exactly what we need to do right now as a whole. So it's not so much just specific to what we're talking about. Really, it's we're talking about all these topics. That's what I would say.